Well, thank you so much, Bianca. We're very excited to have you and interview you today. Just wanted to give a brief introduction to what Contabi Alliance is for those of you that don't know. Contabi Alliance is a professional network, a professional alliance of Latinos that are within the accounting field, and we are looking to continue to create a platform for those around us within our communities to grow and to make an impact in everything that we do within accounting. I am your host. My name is Joel Lacayo. I am a co-founder of Contabi Alliance, and I also work for other companies outside of this, but my role within Contabi is to motivate, to support, and to really offer expertise to all of our members to continue to grow and to reach the goals that they have moving forward. And today, I'm really excited to be able to interview one of our own members, also a personal friend that I consider myself with, Bianca. Bianca, please introduce yourself with, let's say, who you're with, what's your company, what's your business looks like, and maybe a nice little phrase from yourself that would be memorable for us to remember.
My name is Bianca Bonilla. I'm the founder and CEO of TaxMart and Tax Listo coming 2021. I am from Guatemala. I was born in Guatemala and my home base is in California. And at the moment I am in Mexico traveling and working remote.
Which has been something very, very true to you and your being right now, just being the traveler piece and how that's really aligned with your business, which is awesome, right?
Yes, that's what I envisioned when I discovered the cloud accounting 6-7 years ago. And here I am.
That's awesome, but it took time. So I'd love to learn about Bianca when she was a baby, when she was young, and she was really impressionable still and kind of getting to know the world. Walk me through that. You mentioned Guatemala as your país of origin. Talk to me about that, like your upbringing, your community that you were raised with, and what kind of led you to the path that you are today.
I was born in a small town in Guatemala. It's called Jalapa. And I was raised with my grandpa and with my aunt and two entrepreneurs that had small businesses in town, very successful business at that time. And when people ask this question, what I remember my childhood is like being around a lot of women entrepreneurs in town, being, my aunt's friends they all have businesses, they all got together and did Sunday barbecues and talk about their businesses, or one had the ice cream shop, the other one had the bakery shop, the other one had and everybody got together as a community and shared what they were selling or building or what their business had to offer. So I remember that. And then now that I'm older and now I get to think about my past or my childhood, I did not know until now how much of an influence all of those women had in my life or in my upbringing and who I am now. So if they see this, probably won't. They're a big part. All the strong women that I grew up around, they all had a good lesson to teach me, to give.
That's great. And talk about that, because I think a little bit more about that entrepreneurial spirit that I think it's been in your blood, in your family, and then you kind of took it over and get that. How did that promote you during your, let's say, teenage years and early, younger adult years, and maybe choosing your courses, or is accounting, is that something that you wanted to do from the start, or did you have aspirations to do other things?
I moved to the States when I was 17, and I remember it was that transition of I'm going to graduate high school, she's going to go to university, and they were the pressure, what do you want to be, what career you're going to take, it was such a, I remember having the pressure to answer or pick a career, and I really didn't know. And then when I moved to the States, it was a completely different system. So it was you go to junior college and you do this, but then moving to the States was a different transition because I didn't speak English and my family did. So that pretty much held me back out a lot from, who I was in Guatemala, who I was going to become, or what the path was going to be. But going back to the entrepreneurial life, I remember when I was a kid playing, and I was always the leader. I was always the one playing that I have the shop, and I have my cousins and my little neighbors do what I say. So they've always been fun of that. So it was always in my blood. When I moved to the States, I started an online eBay store, which is just crazy. Yeah. I was 18 and I started selling. I'm gonna say this. I never shared this before. I was importing Brazilian bikinis from Canada and Brazil to sell on eBay, and I was creating my own online e-commerce store. And I remember it was doing really great, but I was 18 and everybody thought like it was just a waste of time. And, my friends around were not entrepreneurs. So I kind of to me, it was like a hobby, but I was like really enjoying having a little online business. And probably I tried it for a year and I quit. The business didn't quit. That's my lesson of that business. Like, I quit my dream because I was like thinking now, like, oh God, I could have a big e-commerce, my own brand by now. Because I was 18, I had like everything, I had everything I wanted to do. But then, how did I get involved with the accounting? And I remember in the business in Guatemala, my aunt owned a bakery and a paper supply store. So I was always counting the money, helping him manage the business, paying payroll, and it was just part of the administration. I was always part of the administration. So when I came to the States, graduated high school, and I was, family circumstances that didn't allow me to go to college early, like right after high school. So I started working at a bank, and then I took some accounting courses, and then I became a bookkeeper for a chain of restaurants. And then at 22, I took the tax course and I started working for H&R Block. So then all of a sudden, to me, management, sales, administration, numbers wasn't that hard because I was trained since I was like 14 to make sure I would count the money or make sure I go to the bank and deposit this money, or so it was like easy. And then when I discovered cloud accounting, then it was like, wait, what? I can still do my own online business, travel the world, and I'm not scared of numbers, and I'm good at all this. So I think, I can say easily now, but that's pretty much how kind of got started.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of great things, but also challenges, right? I mean, we have the unique, and I say we because we both immigrated here to the United States. You immigrated here a little bit later in your kind of youth. Yeah. How hard was that to kind of just adapt to the culture that's here and then make it your own, right? Because obviously now, I mean, you're full-fledged, you do everything, you speak in English, you run a business with everything there. What was that transition like, and what really helped you through that? Was it a community? Was it a support system? Was it just like your inner drive? Like, what really kind of got you to that next level where you are right now?
So the first time I came to the States I was 12, and I was really struggling because my parents are divorced, and it was like a transition of you got to be with this family or this other family, but you actually grew up in Guatemala. So that kind of like, I was, as a kid, it was bad. So they sent me back to Guatemala because I couldn't fit. At 12, I really couldn't fit in the States. And then at 17, I was a teenager, I was already kind of causing a troublemaker always. Yeah. So they're like, we need to send you back to the States. So they did. I pretty much was obligated to stay in the States, so I had no choice at that point to go back. But I knew that with a purpose, they wanted the best for me, right? So then, because they wanted the best for me and a better future, I was kind of forced to make the best of wherever I was. I think having all of the 17 years I spent in Guatemala with the core, like who makes you who you are, and all those, and I just implemented and the values and everything I already had, and I already knew kind of back in my head who I wanted to be. I wanted to be a business owner. I have the entrepreneur in me, so I couldn't be anything else. I can picture myself in a different environment. And I was an employee for a lot of years. I was probably a bad employee, but but then it led me to be where I am now, and I'm just so happy.
It just motivated you to be an owner faster.
You got to be there at 8:00, and I'm like, well, what if I get there at 9 and stay 1 hour later?
But I think that's a good point that you bring up in terms of you bringing the culture that you were raised in for 17 years in Guatemala and your family, and acknowledging that that's been who you are and that's how you process business, though. And how do you feel like today, like even giving you a little bit of reflection on that, how do you feel you've used that culture and that community or those values that you were raised with in Guatemala in your business today? How has that been part of like your business model?
I grew up listening all those conversations about the business struggle, like, oh, we need to sell to pay for payroll, or we always listening to what all these women or my family were talking about the business struggle.
Yeah.
And like, employees didn't show up, or, there's rain, we have no supplies, we have no. So how I implement that now with the businesses, I first, grew up listening to the struggle of the business owner. And then I am an entrepreneur and I struggle as much as any other of my clients do, with cash flow, with staff, with hiring, firing clients, hiring clients, sales. So I think I've put myself always on the shoes of the business owner. And I think that is what is being the personal relationship that I have, or that I can relate to the client, and putting them, like I always tell the team to, not to cause, even if it's an emergency, there's really not an emergency on an accounting unless there's a deadline, but always like present this like it's not a big deal, it's like a small deal, because they are dealing with a lot of other challenges in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year. And we don't want it. We're here to help them solve the problem, to be successful at the business, not to create another headache in their accounting. So the reason why I enjoy the accounting part of the business is because it's the core of the business, right? So I remember back in the bakery or back with my aunt, like the money was always the money talk. It was always about the cash flow. It was always, and that's what I can implement now. And just having always that be our priority for the client and for us to like have the personal connection, have like we understand what they're going through and we're here to help you.
Yeah, and I think that says a lot about your upbringing. I mean, being able to be like go with the flow really on the business operational front is so key to be successful. And what better person to kind of lead a team to understand that one that was pretty much taken from their original country and placed in a completely new environment with completely new people, like not knowing anything that was going to happen, and then put back again like it you went to. And I think the people that hold themselves above water like you've been doing are really people that just understand like, hey, life's always going to be moving and changing. I just got to like go like the wind and just move along with the currents and going, and can see the different advantages of going through. Remind me after this, I'm going to introduce you to somebody that's doing what you did at 17 years old now, then, and doing it now. And she's doing great. So I'll introduce you there. But I love the fact that you kind of can see how maybe your history and your like past and your upbringing and definitely your culture has really injected itself within your business model, which is awesome. And talk to me about that. Talk more about your business. Who are like your ideal people that you're working with? Who are like the clients that what's your client profile, the perfect client that you'd love to have and continue working with right now?
As I'm a passion entrepreneur, I love to work with passion entrepreneurs because, I know we will give it all to make our business successful. But then it comes to the part where like, I need to work with businesses that are taking it to the next level of like the growth stage. So as of last year, I was working with the restaurant industries just because I have the understanding of, and going back to the bakery, of supplies, of staff, of serving, of being in the hospitality industry. Is a very challenging industry. It's like very dynamic, it's changing. It's always like, from the bakery to working in this chain of restaurants as a bookkeeper, and then having my own bookkeeping firm per se, and working directly with restaurants. It was like such an easy transition. It was just a communication with the business owner, with the chefs, with the servers. Where like I knew exactly what they needed, what they meant. Like I grew up in a bakery. That's who I like to work with. Like I really want to. I've struggled a lot in life, and like you said, I've been like going with the flow and making the best out of whatever environment. I always have like, I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna make the best I can. And if I find another business or entrepreneur that their vision is that, that is my passion. Like I want to be part of that. I want to be part of their passion. So their passion is my passion.
That's awesome. I love the fact that you can just easily just blend in with somebody else's energy and kind of like, it's like adding more gas to the fire already there. So you help them blaze even further, which is awesome. And so where are you going next? Where is TaxSmart going to lead, let's say, in the future? Like, what does the future look like in your opinion for the industry and accounting? And where do you see TaxSmart being, as well as yourself? Like, how do you see that growing?
Well, let's say where I am now, because where I am now is where it takes me next, I believe. Since I'm leading this this team. And when I met the cloud systems to run the business, like I literally Googled when they said to me, like, did you see this? I Googled the name and I Googled what it can do. And then I envisioned the life now. I was like, you mean I can have my laptop on a beach and still work and live anywhere in the world? To me, that was what I wanted to do, like have the freedom. And I've been traveling since I'm 12 by myself. So I've been pretty much like a nomad all this time. And now I was like, oh, the digital nomad. I'm like, well, I've been a nomad since I was 12. But yeah, I think where that puts me, like I'm living the dream of location independence, having a remote team. I've had team members from all over the world, literally from all continents at this point, and it's been, to me, make like the world look a lot smaller because I had access to so many people in a day. It was crazy. Where this is taking me is my passion right now is kind of letting all the young generation know that the accounting industry is such a great career to have right now. If you want the freedom of location and be location independent, work from anywhere, and then you still run businesses. And also where it takes me with Taxmar and now TaxLisa with the Latino community is, Taxmar and TaxLisa were born at the same time. I just had to pick one. And I said, okay, well, I live in America. I am going to go with the, English version of Taxmar at this point. And we did. So I've been running the business for 6 years, now going on 7. And finally now that because of the pandemic, I was not forced to, but I'm kind of forced to introduce the cloud-based and technology to our Latino community. They need to get used to using technology to do business transactions or personal transactions like income taxes and that. So where this leading me is with the challenge of starting from scratch and teaching our Latino community, this is how the new normal is going to be as far as technology and your, taxes and your accounting and this and showing them how easy, affordable, and less complicated we can all make it by leveraging technology where we are right now.
Awesome. I hear a lot of like adaption. I hear a lot of an opportunity for you to really use technology to the forefront, and really what COVID, because this is really what we're discussing here, what COVID has forced a lot of us to do is not adopt cloud or technology, but rather it's been pushed to us a lot sooner. So the adoption of cloud and less paperwork and less paper processes was coming. We all saw this, right? Like you mentioned, even learning about it 7 years ago. It's been coming for years. What COVID really provided on a positive front is the opportunity to get there faster, to have our communities understand that is the new reality, that as much as they pushed against it, and there's still going to be stragglers, that's going to be the new reality. I'm excited to hear you continue to branch out and now make a focus on the Latino community, which brings up another question, the Spanish language, right? So you're a bilingual individual, and bilingualism is not only just in regular language or speech, it's also within our own community, within accounting or within finance. You need to be able to learn the verbiage that are associated in Spanish and in English to better communicate on the business front. Have you seen that as a benefit for your business? And I would imagine so, because you're starting a completely new one just focused on Spanish speaking. But how is the language of Spanish even more so important nowadays with the populations growing and being more reflective and more brown as we continue to continue to grow our Latino base in the United States right now?
Well, the challenge of the Spanish, because I learned all the accounting terms in English, and now I have to learn them in Spanish. So that means I'm gonna have to take an accounting class in Espanol, so I can, have the verbiage in the talk and with the clients and how we're translating everything. I am definitely like an advocate of like if you live in the States, you should learn English. I learn English, that's our country. But the TaxLisa Spanish is like I want to be able to have that. I always think of my mom. I always put my family thinking like, if my mom can understand this, then means this demographic can understand this. If I can get my mom to use Taxmar app or to do her transactions, if I can get her to, and I do it this all the time, could you please send me this? Can you please do that? Can you? I mean, and they're like my guinea pigs. I mean, if I can get them to do this, then great. But also, I want TaxSmart to be associated with our Latino side, because I am a Latino. Founders Latinas, we should have a Hispanic.
Latina.
Yeah. We still can decide on Espanol, TaxSmart in Espanol. There's also an opportunity now with being globally, I guess, recognized. I have the opportunity to maybe venture into businesses in Latin America. So this is designed not just for the States and the Hispanic community in the United States, but also probably having the opportunity to expand through Latin America.
That's great. Bianca, I think it's so awesome that I get the opportunity to interview some of our members of Contabi, to get to know them and really understand their roots and what motivates and drives them to be successful moving forward. I guess as a final question for you is, think back to something that you probably changed your life or pivoted your course of being. It's something that you can use today, something that you've learned today that if you would have said man, if I would have known this, 10 years ago, I would have been here a lot faster. What would be that one thing that you would share with yourself from 15 or 10 years back?
I think if I can talk to my younger me, don't think you know it all. Don't think you know it all, because you don't. I mean, I have the blessing of having of that upbringing, but then I was stubborn, which maybe that's where else we need to be a little stubborn to be entrepreneurs. Yeah. At least I like to say that. But I wish I wouldn't think I knew it all. It would have helped me a lot. And maybe surround yourself with the right group of mentors and listen to them. Now I'm as an older individual me, I do have my mentors. But before, younger me was I know it all. I don't need no mentors. But now I do. I rely on them. I don't make no decisions without talking to my mentors. That will be my tip.
I agree 1,000%. I mean, within Contabi, a couple of our core values are around collaboration or community, which is, the surrounding myself with people that are looking to help me grow and support my growth. So mentor. And the other aspect of that has to do with just having that drive and passion towards education and training yourself and just continuing to improve your knowledge base. So those are two aligned. I think that, it's a fine line between believing in yourself, which is you think you know everything, but that's believing in yourself, really, that confidence that you naturally have, and then balance that out with still learning and getting educated on several new things that are out there. If you can balance those two, right, of having equal amounts of confidence and equal amounts of ganas and drive to continue to learn, I think you would be even more successful than you are today. So thank you so much, Bianca. I really appreciated this initial interview. This does not mean this is the last one. We're obviously going to keep learning about you in the future, but I look forward to continue to seeing you thrive and continue to grow within the community of Contabi, and any way that we can be a part of that is really what we're here for.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a great community for sure.